Well, good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all this morning? We starting to feel like we're going to get a little bit of rain. You might hear some raindrops slamming into my hat here before we're done, but it's going to be a nice cloudy day, kind of overcast, the kind that I like. Going to be out working in the garden later and doing some other things. This is especially, I've been wanting to do this one for a while. And it's especially for our newer viewers, our newer subscribers, and anybody that comes along, to kind of give you the rules of the road, kind of what the channel's about, kind of what I'm about, what the expectations are, and things like that. You may have, if you've been here before, you may have heard me say that I claim to have the smartest commenters in YouTube land, and I hold to that. And if you've watched any of the previous videos, if you go down into the comments, which you should, because there's a lot of good information down in there, you'll see that I'm exactly right. And we have a very high quality of commenter, and I love that. And we have in our Patreon community over on the Patreon channel is, I mean, even take it up, several steps from that, and that is great. So I want to kind of help you be a part of that, because I'm sure that you're a good person if you're here, and I want you to be able to contribute to whatever extent you want and get the most out of it. First off, the first thing about it is that we are polite here. This is not a place that someone should come and be rude or challenging or insulting or in any way putting anyone down. And I don't just mean me, I mean any of the other commenters. It's a place much like if you were visiting my home and you come in, you wouldn't insult people in there, hopefully, either. We do, occasionally have somebody that comes in and is rude. And I think a lot of times these people don't even realize that they're being rude because they haven't been held to account for their behavior and their words. Excuse me. And nobody's explained to them how to be polite. Politeness is important, and so that's number one. If you have a comment, I love the comments. Okay. Make it, like I say, respectful. It doesn't mean you have to, be all mushy and all that. You just to stay it straight. But if you have an opinion about something, make sure that you have the experience to back that opinion up. And let us know what your background is, and I have no problem with that. But I've had to kind of come back on a couple of people lately, who after I've gone into some detail about something that I have a great deal of experience in, they'll come back and say something like, "Well, I personally feel that," and then they go on to to express an opinion that is just totally wrong, and I'll call them on that. Sometimes I'll call them on it, and then sometimes, depending if I think they're just starting to, trying to start a fight, I get rid of them because I don't need more subscribers, to be real honest, and I want our comment section and the videos to be a comfortable place people to be. Somebody called me the comfortable prepper the other day. I think that was a good term. I like that. I like to be comfortable. I like to be around people that I like, and I want all of my guests to have a good time. I'll give you an example of one of those times that somebody came in with an opinion, and it was some time back, and I had made a video on pistol calibers and the effectiveness, the relative effectiveness or ineffectiveness of different calibers. And I went into great detail about it. And I said, if you disagree with this, tell me about the gunfight that you've been in and the wounds that you have personally seen caused by different calibers, okay? Because that's where I get my information. I don't talk about things that I don't have personal experience in. I mean, I may, marginally talk about things, but the things that I talk about, I tend to have a great deal of experience in, and that's why I talk about it. People shouldn't come on here and just spew. I know that YouTube land is full of people who do, but they shouldn't. So when you come here and you listen to me, you're going to hear me talk about things I have experience in. So this person came back and he just started saying, well, I believe that such and such caliber is just a great caliber, and it was one that I specifically said, and I'm not mentioning the calibers because that's not what this is about. You can go back and watch it. I personally believe that such and such is a great caliber, and it's just as. I said, okay. First off, I also said watch the whole video. Did you watch the whole video? No, I didn't. I'm going to get back to it in a little bit, but I just want. Okay, no, you just broke the first requirement for commenting on that. And then the rest of your information is so flawed. Tell me about the gunfight. Have you been in a gunfight? Tell me about it, because I'll be able to tell if you're telling me the truth or not. No, I've never been in a gun. Well, okay, so here's a guy. I put it up here. Watch the whole video, and then if you disagree with this, tell me about the gunfight you personally have been in, not the one you heard about. What you personally have been in. And tell me also about all the different wounds that you have seen created by the different. Well, they hadn't done it, and so that the thing is, that's not helpful. I want my viewers and my subscribers to come on to be able to hear people who actually have done the things that they talk about. We had a number of law enforcement people come on, and say, "Yeah, you're exactly right. You are exactly right." And we got somebody that comes on and gets all the information from a gun magazine. And boy, there's plenty of them out there. There's so many people out there with opinions about guns. And I'm not going to put them down if that's their hobby, if that's what they think. But if you want advice about guns, you need to go to somebody who has carried them for a living and actually used them for a living. That's just an example of what I'm talking about. I did one the other day about the Irish situation, and so I don't remember who it was. Doesn't matter. Somebody came on and disagreed, and they were totally wrong. They had an opinion, but the opinion wasn't based on anything. And so I answered them on that, and the reason that I don't allow those things to stand, and is that I don't want my viewers to be misled. I'm going to put out information that I know personally, and as a result of my personal experience, and I've had quite a wide swath of experience, and pretty deep also. And so that's what you're going to get here. So please, I welcome comments. I welcome questions. And some of my older subscribers will probably get on here and verify that too. I welcome them. But if you're going to express an opinion, and it has to do with the subject, and especially if it disagrees with anything that I said, it doesn't mean that because you disagree I'm going to bounce you. I'm not. I'll bounce you if you do it the wrong way, if you're impolite, if you're discourteous, if you don't know what you're talking about. But put down the reasons for it, your personal experiences, not what you heard from Uncle Bob, okay? Okay, so we're polite here, we are respectful here, because I want my people to have a good experience. I like my channel to be a place that people look forward to coming, just as I hear so many of them say, hey, I look forward to starting my day watching your videos. Somebody even said, I put it on pause and I went and got a cup of coffee to have a cup of coffee with you and to start my day, and that is great. Another thing is, even on regular videos, I chat for a couple of minutes before I get into the thing. I don't get on and start yelling and screaming about how the country's going down the tubes and the world's going to end by noon, like I said, and all that. I like to chat. It's kind of like if you come to my home. It's kind of like if you came to my church, and I'm going to make a couple of announcements and say, how are you all today? And here's the things that we're doing, a couple of things to mention, and then I'll get into the topic. And I occasionally have people go, it took you 3 minutes to get to the topic, Okay, well, then don't watch. There are plenty of people out there. I mean, I don't watch them, but I see, the videos. I have watched them. That's why I don't watch them. There are plenty of people out there that right off the bat, they're going to be telling you how horrible things are and try to scare you. And if that's what you're after, if it's just the dopamine rush for everything's going to hell, I'm not the channel for you, because we're going to be talking about more things than that. So I like to chat for a few minutes. Another thing is I tend to talk slowly. That's the way I am. I talk slowly. Some people say, my gosh, that was hard to listen to, and okay, go somewhere else. I finally found somebody. Actually, it's a channel that I'm going to recommend here soon. I found a guy who talks slower than I do. Sometimes, though, it's just because we're thinking about what we're going to say and we're relaxed. Like I said, somebody called me the comfortable prepper, and that's true. I'm pretty comfortable in my life and what I'm doing, and I want you to be too, and that's why I talk about this. Another thing that you should know about me is that I'm a writer. YouTube is not my gig, my main gig, as it were. I am a writer. That's how I make my living. I wrote the Stonemont series. I got a kick out of somebody saying the other day, because people will also, you just get on and try to sell your books. Why shouldn't I? The only reason that I first started the YouTube channel, and I'll talk about this in a minute, the only reason that I started the YouTube channel was to be able to talk about my books, to be able to get on and answer questions that I would get from people. And I said, it'd be easier just to get on a YouTube channel and answer questions that people have written me and asked about the books. And so that's the only reason that I started this channel, was to talk about the books. Over the years, the channel has become a thing of its own. It's kind of grown, and it's a totally, well, not totally, but pretty much a separate, entity. And so I don't talk about the books all that much, and I probably should talk about them more. Somebody has asked that I take, things out of the book and talk about those, and I'll probably get to there. By the way, there's the audio book is coming. But these are my books. I'm a writer. And these books are about how to prepare for and how to survive and how to rebuild after a total collapse of the world. And it's about preparedness, real preparedness, not about being scared and but about preparing and how to survive it, and then how to rebuild afterwards. Collectively, it is the Stonemont series, and the existing 5 books are the Reversion, the Revival, the Renewal, and Appeal to Heaven, and the Blessings of Freedom. I'm working on the 6th book now. Should be out this fall. I haven't decided on a title for it yet, but these are available on Amazon, either in paperback or in Kindle, or there's a way that you can get autographed copies from me, and all that information is down below in the information section. And also, I usually put a pinned comment there, because a lot of people don't see that drop-down information section, and that's how you can get these books. And thousands of people across the world have loved them and learned from them, and if you haven't gotten them, I suggest that you do. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to enjoy them. It's a great story, but you're going to learn a lot more than I could ever more than I could pack into 10 years of YouTube videos. Okay, so I make no apology about talking about my books, because that's what I am. And if you want even more about preparedness, and that's why you should be on a preparedness channel, right? If you want even more than that, you should read these books. You can also, so that's for the person who says, you just talk about your book. I think they're jealous that they don't have books to sell or something. I don't know, but you know what? I'm a capitalist. I do things for a living, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm happy to share it. And I want people to buy my books. You know, it's kind of like your job, right? That whoever you work for advertises, or maybe you have your own business, and you advertise, or they advertise in order to make their living. Okay, and if it helps people, so much the better. And that's what those books are about. Another thing is I have a Patreon channel, and the link is also down there. And I put things over on the Patreon channel, and I put everything on there that I put on YouTube. But there are many things that Patreon doesn't like. They don't like you to talk about. They don't like you to talk about guns. They don't like you to talk about I put stuff over there also that I kind of limit to a more, what should I say, a different crowd, because these are things that if I put them on the YouTube channel, I just get all sorts of idiots coming in there and making comments, and then I've got to spend time going through and blocking them and getting rid of them and all that, and I don't have that time. Yeah, I've got plenty of other things to do. Somebody probably just said, well, if you talked faster, you'd have more time. Well, I live a comfortable life. I live the life that I want to. And I want you all to live the kind of life you want to. And that's why I do this. So over there on Patreon, I talk, that's where I put the stuff about guns and gunfighting and how to carry guns. And guess what? I take that from many years of carrying a gun. I've carried a gun for 47 years now. And I happen to know a lot about it. And that's what I talk about, and I didn't learn it from a magazine. You know, if you want to learn about that stuff, I talk about it over there. I talk about organized crime over there, which I know about. I talk about the Irish Republican movement, the IRA, things like that, which I happen to know about. I talk about things that I know about. And if you want to know about them, great to have you. If you have questions, always feel free to ask a question. I may or may not be able to answer it, simply because there are some things that I won't talk about on here. So we will see. Any of you older people who happen to be watching, feel free to leave a comment down there reinforcing what I have just said to our newer viewers, okay? And welcome them. Because for the people just joining, or who, and we have a lot of people who have watched for a long time, but have never commented. Don't feel shy about commenting. I mean, you don't have to. I don't want you to make you feel like you're less of a member because you don't comment. But feel free. Don't be nervous about making a comment. Just be nice, and if you have a question, ask it. And if you have an opinion, just give us your experience on which you base it, and that makes for a decent conversation anywhere, doesn't it? Pretty much does. I mean, you wouldn't go into I love these people who will do things in YouTube that they would never do in person. It's easy to be an ass, and there's some people even proud to be asses, and I've never understood that personality. But we've all known them, haven't we? So I think that's about it. I want to welcome you to the channel. The concept of integrative preparedness is simply that everything that you do should work together in an integrative fashion in order to not just prepare you to survive outside the support of all of the external interconnected systems on which you now rely and over which you have little or no control, but also improves the quality of your life today. That's what integrative preparedness is. So anyway, welcome to you. That's kind of the spiel. That's how we do things here. And if you're here, I'm glad you are. Now I'm going to go out and check the peaches and the apples and the corn and the tomatoes and the peppers and all of the other things. Actually, the peaches are doing pretty well this year, and the apples are coming in great. And then I'm gonna come back in and have a breakfast of probably some steak and eggs, something like that. We'll just kind of see, and hopefully we'll get a little rain later today. So anyway, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. It's great to have you. And if you're our kind of people, I look forward to hearing from you. And if any of those things that I talked about says, well, I'm just not going to go along with that, well, I tell you, there's thousands of channels out there you'll be happy with. So you all have a great day. And like we always say here, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So get out and do something to prepare today, okay? And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.